Okay, so I thought that I would do something a little bit different than I typically do today, and I wanted to talk about Mariah Carey on the last Culturistas podcast. Going to be giving you a recap of, basically what went down on this podcast and my thoughts on it. And so the first thing that stood out to me is whenever she said that Caution didn't get the push and promotion that it deserved, which I heavily agree with. And she did so many interviews for the album. They referenced a Genius interview, which is like one of her best interviews and stuff like that. And yeah, it just sucks that she, really put herself out there with the interviews, the promotion of the music, and then labeled all the instant grats and the BS. She tore down. She did what she was supposed to do. The label failed her, and that irritates me. But, she acknowledged it. And she said that, she is writing now, and basically that whenever she talks about new music, people get mad because she says that she's working on new stuff, it's coming soon, and then when it doesn't come out, people get mad. So she said that. And they were basically saying, it's been 6 years since Caution, and she was basically agreeing with them that 2025 is the year for new music, and I really hope that 2025 is the year for a new album. And she says she knows it's done her music after she kind of sits with it and makes changes and stuff, because they asked her about it, and they asked her about the production of Hero, kind of how fast did that came together. And she basically said what she said before, that the entire song kind of came together fast, that she was walking to the bathroom or whatever when she came up with it, and then whenever she came back, she just kind of, sang it to Walter, and it was pretty fast the way that the song came together. And so she said that some songs kind of come faster than others and everything like that. And then I think that they even mentioned, how do you feel that some songs, are big moments than others and everything. And so, that was that kind of moment and stuff. And she said she loves Fly Like a Bird. And they said multiple times that she doesn't have enough Grammys, which I really agree with. They point out in this podcast, multiple Grammy snubs. They were talking about the Butterfly album, how that was snubbed, the audiobook, how that was snubbed. So I'm glad that they put some, attention on that, because it's true. And they were talking about Heartbreaker, the vocal stacking at the end, and she said that it was one of her favorites and that it was kind of easy for her to do the vocal ending parts because that song was built off a loop and stuff, and, she just enjoys doing that. And for the Heartbreaker video, she actually said that there was a stand-in girl on set, and she was mad that the popcorn was thrown. I guess it got in her hair or something, and then she left, and then she went, and she said, hey, we didn't mean to, upset you or anything like that, and the girl was so mad. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit from the Heartbreaker video. And they asked her how she came up with the name Bianca. She said that she just made it up. And she confirmed that Butterfly has special significance to her and thinks that it's probably her best album. And like I said, they said that, the album was robbed for awards. And she said that she loves it and it has a lot of diversity to it, just in terms of, the soundscapes and stuff. So basically, and they mentioned Kelly Clarkson and said that she loves My All. And then they were talking about The Roof and everything, and one of the guys said that he just wrote The Roof lyrics for some assignment that he did, and the teacher actually thought that it was his. And she said that even though she wrote Hero, it doesn't mean that it was the only type of song that she wanted to write, basically, that she could do other things. And one of them said that she was famous for that kind of song, and she was like, I guess, so I thought that was interesting. And I said that her music kind of got funnier, wittier and stuff like that. She said she likes Thanksgiving because they asked her about that. And then she mentioned 4th of July in some way, and they were like, that's an excellent song. So there was 4th of July praise. Ex-Girlfriend got mentioned, which, I'm always living for the Ex-Girlfriend crumbs, because he was talking about this playlist that he made of some of her songs. And so, yeah, Ex-Girlfriend, underrated, should have been a single, but, it is what it is. And they were just talking about how great the SNL Vanishing performance was as well. I believe that they said that Patrick Swayze was the host or whatever there, and she said that she wasn't really as nervous back then, I think just performance-wise and stuff. And then, she was asked if she felt the rise to fame was really fast for her, and they kind of mentioned the whole Tokyo Dome moment and, her kind of realizing that as well and everything. And she basically just said that, it was an international moment with how many people can fit in the Tokyo Dome. It was just kind of a thing for her, because I think it was, 150,000, something around there. And I also remember her in her book talking about the moment that she kind of realized her fame. I think it was some performance in New York, one of her concerts, and then the police. So I thought that was kind of an interesting callback to that. And, they kind of asked her what it was like performing over there. And she basically said that, they were very respectful and they kind of just clapped as the song ended. And that, somebody told her that they weren't trying to be disrespectful or anything. That's just how the culture is. So there was a tidbit there. They praised Always Be My Baby, and they kind of mentioned the pop, hip hop moments and stuff like that, and just asking like how it sits with her, what she started with that. She said it's interesting. She was talking about, fantasy with ODB, and what she said before about how she's always really wanted to do that, and she was advised against that, and they told her that it would ruin their career. They made a quick mention about Cowboy Carter and, how versatile that album was, so I appreciate the Cowboy Carter crumbs. And she said that she loved the Grammys moment with Miley, and that Miley sent her flowers, actually. And they kind of just asked her about formative pop culture moments that made her want to do what she does. And she just mentioned Michael Jackson and Prince, and just basically how that was iconic, and Michael Jackson, Motown 25 and everything. And she said she promised herself that she would grow to be someone that would have a successful career, due to what she grew up with. And, she was poor. A lot of people don't know that and everything. But yeah, she grew up pretty poor, having, only a few shirts in rotation and stuff like that. And, she said she had a traumatic experience growing up in a racist place, because they were talking about Long Island. And they mentioned how she kind of started opening up more in her songs and everything. I think they were talking about outside and stuff like that, just about like biracial experiences and, things that she'd been through. And they were talking about the book, and Mariah said that she loved collaborating with Michaela Angela Davis on the book, and just the whole process of even recording the book, and that it was just very therapeutic for her. And they mentioned everything getting rebooted, and they wanted Divas Live back, and she got asked if she's tired of the Christmas stuff, basically, and she said that she wasn't. And she basically said something about, like, they didn't do Circles, which is a song that they were supposed to do, and then she just played a little, moment of All I Want for Christmas Is You. And then they asked her, they were like, what did the emancipation of Mimi era felt like? Because we know what happened with Glitter and Char Bracelet and how she was counted out and everything. And she basically said that she knew the album was strong and she felt good about the success. She said that she likes All I Ever Wanted in reference to this playlist. And in reference to the Emancipation Mimi, she basically got asked, like, is there going to be a third installment? Because as we know, there was the Emancipation Mimi, you had equals and MC squared. And then they kind of said that they felt like maybe Caution was part of it, and I don't really see that, to be honest, but she basically said that it'll come in the future, so I think that that's what the next album is looking like, so that's encouraging. And she got asked about Mean Girls. She basically said that she loves it, and they asked her, are you going to return to acting with what you did with Precious and stuff like that, and she was like, I really don't know. They were talking about the Tower of Terror and just a little thing about Ariana Grande. And later in the interview, Bowen Yang, I believe his name is, he said that at the Grammys that Ariana told him that Mariah was going to be on the Yes and remix. So I'm like, okay, like that was something that was, cooked up. I thought that was a little interesting tidbit. She shared her favorite Disney rights, and they asked her to choose between two of her lyrics. Them chickens is Ash and I'm a lotion from It's Like That, Emancipation Mimi, or You a mom and pop, I'm a corporation, I'm a press conference, you a conversation. And so she decided to go with the Obsessed lyric. And they asked about that little riff that she does in the song, and she basically said that it was just an ad-lib, and, sometimes she kind of, like, messes around in the studio and records ad-libs and stuff like that. And she said she loves stacking harmonies again. And she got asked if she hears the full song while she's writing it, or just kind of the bones of the song, and she says that it was always different. And they asked her, like, how often do you write? Like, could you write tonight? And she was like, well, I could, but, I want to have my atmosphere and stuff like that. They asked her what's her favorite studio to record in, and she said it was a home studio, and they gave a shout out to their Brandy Roof collab, and Mariah's like, I love Brandy, obviously, and that it was fun to do the vocals and stuff like that, and Brandy pays attention to detail with that. And they also praised her song Have You Ever, and they praised Whenever You Call, and Against All Odds, and then the remix with Westlife. And she said that Westlife came to Capri to record a song and film the video over there, and they told her to drop the Grunge album. And she was basically just like, I should drop it, who do I drop it with, and everything. And one of them was like, okay, you can drop it on GarageBand, and she was saying it was fun to record, it was released, and that she should drop it. So hopefully we finally get it. I know she was working on a project with Millie Bobby Brown. I don't know if that is in reference to the Grunge album. I just hope that we get it. And so she said that she hates overhead lighting, and I remember seeing that clip, and she said recessed lighting is best. And she got asked if she was excited about taking her kids to see Wicked, and she said she was just excited to hang out with them in general. So yeah, that was a big recap of what kind of happened on the podcast. I might have missed like a thing or two, but those were the things that were kind of important to me, the things that stood out to me. So to those who haven't seen the podcast, that was like the gist of what she said and everything. And so overall thoughts on this, I thought we got a few interesting tidbits on this podcast. It was just nice to see fans of Mariah review her and give her some flowers for some really great deep cuts, and you can tell that she enjoyed it. So, I mean, I think that it was decent for what it was, and I hope that we do get new music next year. If it is Emancipation Mimi type rollout, I could definitely see that. My friends and I talked about that and everything, and maybe this is kind of like her last hurrah. Maybe this is her last album, I don't know, and she'll, do a whole thing with promotion. Maybe she signed with a new label, or maybe she's going to, who knows. But as a Mariah fan, I thought it was an interesting interview. But, to fellow lambs, what did you guys think of the interview? Did you enjoy it? And let's kind of have that conversation.